Hi everybody. Today we are joined with Dr. Mark Pepper. Dr. Pepper was born in Chester, Pennsylvania, and raised in a deeply rooted Jewish family, carrying a strong commitment to tradition, justice, and community. A valedictorian of Chester High, he went on to earn his BA from the University of Pennsylvania and his MD from Hahnemann University, later building a career in internal medicine and pharmaceutical drug safety. He has since dedicated himself to family, small business, and active involvement in progressive Jewish and social justice organizations. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here and do a quick interview with us.
It's my pleasure.
So my first question for you is, you're engaged in several groups such as the Jews for Racial and Economic Justice and If Not Now. Could you first speak to just kind of why you chose to be involved in those organizations, and how do you respond to the common criticism from more conservative Jewish voices that groups like these are betraying the Jewish people by advocating for Palestine?
Good, yeah, good question. I would say how I got involved was an evolutionary process. I was always raised very, well, as you said, raised in a devout, religious Jewish family. And I think when Israel advocacy became more of much more intense with groups like AIPAC, I was never comfortable with AIPAC. There was something off about it. I was encouraged at the synagogue that I belonged to in East Windsor for quite a long time now, about 20 years. I was encouraged to attend an AIPAC conference, and I actually signed up for it, but then never went because one of the headline speakers was Dick Cheney, and I said something's off there. Yeah. So I didn't go, and over time, just as things developed, I was certainly fearful for Israel's existence when I was much younger. But over time it seemed, things were kind of settling down, although there was still never peace. And over time I started to realize that there had to be peace. There just had to be. The bloodshed just wasn't worth it. I went from saying there's no way we're sharing Jerusalem to now it's not worth it. We have to share it. The bloodshed there's nothing to justify that for both peoples. So I started to learn about other organizations like J Street, which I was a member of for several years, and I still felt something was missing. Then I learned about If Not Now and JVP, Jewish Voice for Peace, and more recently the group Jews for Racial and Economic Justice. And the way I found out about Jews for Racial and Economic Justice was a friend of mine at J Street. He was one of the leaders who I expressed my dissatisfaction with. I felt J Street was not being strong enough to oppose AIPAC, and that was kind of why it was set up in the first place. I felt it was still a little too, just not strong enough in terms of the opposition. And this friend, this leadership, in leadership, told me about the group JFREJ, Jews for Racial and Economic Justice. He thought it would be more in line with my values and what I was hoping to see. And I was already involved with If Not Now. And If Not Now was actually a splinter group from J Street. It was younger J Street staffers who became disillusioned with J Street and started If Not Now. I forget how long ago, but years later, after J Street was already up and running. So there's how I got involved. I'm not sure I've answered the question yet. It was, how do I respond? Is that?
Yeah, so when you receive criticism
Okay.
from
Well, the way I respond is the values that I see in groups like If Not Now and JFREG absolutely reflect my Jewish values, what I was brought up to believe by my parents. And I think my parents, if they were alive today, they passed away in 2000 before 9/11. And I was sort of relieved that they didn't witness that.
Yeah.
And that was horrific. But I know they would be very disturbed with what's going on in Israel today and Gaza. And I think they would wholeheartedly agree that I'm doing the right thing and would be proud of me that I've took their guidance and teaching and have applied it in this manner.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Does that answer it? Oh, and
yes.
How I would respond, well, I sort of say, I would respond, you have no right to criticize me, the more conservative Jews. I have my beliefs, and I'm entitled to them, and they're just as valid as yours, and I actually feel your views have gone off the rails from what I was led to believe Judaism was supposed to be about. So maybe that answers it.
So
Okay.
backtracking to, I had mentioned in your intro that you had experience working in the pharmaceutical industry and also your experience with internal medicine. The pharmaceutical industry is known for complex ethical considerations. How did your professional experience there and also in internal medicine inform your sense of moral responsibility when you're viewing the humanitarian crisis and the medical needs in Gaza?
Well, I would say it's certainly related. Well, another great question. Certainly plays into what I've come to realize is I went to medical school in the early 80s. I graduated in 86. And then I did a residency, finished that in 90. From even back then, I knew the need, the failings of the healthcare system in our country. And when I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, I worked mainly basically exclusively for European countries. So I learned firsthand what socialized medicine was all about and how it was sorely lacking here. And certainly in the pharmaceutical industry, it's a for-profit industry.
Yeah.
But they do take great lengths to make sure that the oath in medicine is do no harm. And the pharmaceutical industry does adhere to that, but at the same time needs to make a profit, which I think maybe is excessive at times, and especially the insurance industry is. And so I think clearly the medical needs in Gaza are staggering, and it's appalling what has happened. No hospitals left standing. Certainly the medical care is just pretty much non-existent. I guess they're doing the best they can with what they have. Yeah. And I think, it's just my background. I mean, I just can't fathom, what's going on there. And even here, everybody, we have great healthcare, we don't need socialized medicine. Well, people who say that don't know the fact that we really do, because what I've always said, and even from the very beginning, you're better off if you can avoid going to the hospital, because then you find out where the lacking is, and this is coming from someone who knows how to navigate the system. I did that for my parents when they needed it, for other relatives. I knew how to get around certain roadblocks and speed bumps, and so clearly, we have healthcare, but it's not what it could be and what it should be. Yeah. And I would imagine Gaza had good healthcare. I couldn't believe how many hospitals there were, except they were all destroyed, or I guess for the most part. I'm not sure what's left. So I think, does that cover it?
It does, yeah. I do think there's a real, obviously, healthcare crisis in this country, but then you look at less developed countries and you see kind of the extreme that they face over there too. So thank you for
sure.
speaking to that.
For sure.
The very last question, what advice or message do you have for Jewish and Muslim individuals in New Jersey who wish to bring solidarity locally but may fear backlash or misunderstanding from their own communities?
Okay. I think you have to stick to your principles, what you believe in, and find other people who share those values. But even don't be afraid to talk to people who disagree with you, and try to get to where you can at least share your concerns. And maybe certainly there'll be things you disagree on, but look for things where you can agree on. And I think that's the key, is just dialogue and trying to help educate each other, because I can't say that I know all the answers. I mean, nobody does. I mean, I certainly learned that in medical school, and it's dangerous. I mean, some of my medical student colleagues at the time were afraid to say they didn't know an answer to something. And that was just nuts, because I said, how can you expect that you know everything already? And I was told, don't expect to know everything. But one friend I remember in particular, he said, well, he was afraid if he said he didn't know something, it would show a sign of weakness. I said, no. If you don't know something, that's a sign of strength, because then you want to expand what you know. And I think the same thing applies to the people who, for people who are afraid of backlash from their communities. I think you just have to speak cordially with each other, not avoid conflict. But, like I said, find the common ground. I mean, I keep hearing this over and over again, and it's just so true. It's the only way forward.
Yeah. I mean, the only way to move forward is through communication.
Yes.
If you're not making any action or taking any actionable steps towards spreading information, then nothing's going to happen.
And you can't just, as they call it, you can't just stick to your not ivory tower, what's the term? Your silo. Right? You can't just stay within your silo, because that's just going to reinforce the things you believe, which in some cases may be not correct.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to be flexible and willing to listen.
Right.
Willing to talk and to listen, both.
Agreed, 100%.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
For taking the time to come here and answer all those questions. It was very informative.